morning, everybody. Okay, that's much better. Great. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much for joining us on this panel discussion. The focus and the brief that's been given to us is how does a brick and mortar really move to a digital play. And I think we want to expand. We have half an hour with us, and we want to expand the theme on not only who owns it, but also what are the challenges. And half an hour is quite short for that. I think it's actually maybe a one full day session. But we wanted to touch upon some of the areas. And because I'm passionate about organization and HR, that's my area of expertise, somehow I'm going to get biased a little bit towards that type of questions to my colleagues. So we have Hansa, as you know, she's the head of marketing for Head Honchos. So I think she brings with herself the expertise not only in terms of the recruitment space and the talent challenge that we will face as retail brick and mortar players as we move to digital play. But she's also, I think, brings the story of Head Honchos itself, because as you know, ABC is a brick and mortar recruitment company that, you know, got into the digital space when it comes to building a platform for recruitment, right? So I think that in itself is an interesting play. Then Salil also will bring the experience of being a very successful brick and mortar retail. And also will be interesting to know his views about how does a company like himself move into a retail online space. So let me start with the first question, and we'll spend maybe 5-7 minutes there on terms of who owns that movement. You're a brick and mortar retail player. Who starts that conversation of whether should we or should we not, and who drives that discussion, who takes the decision? Let's start from that perspective. Salil, do you want to give us your first view?
Hi, morning. It's a privilege to be here. And thank you all for your time and interest. As a brick and mortar retailer for the last 6 or 7 years, we have been in a food and grocery space. As all of you know, we've been waging a battle in the brick and mortar space. But at the same time, I'm a great believer in the internet. Right from, I think, probably about 2000 odd when internet exploded everywhere. So when we have been trying to think about online retailing for quite some time, and in my experience in the current group, we also had we bought a company which was not online strictly. 5% of the business was online in about five years back. So I'll spend a lot of time on actually the challenges or the stumbling blocks that we face when we think about getting into this space. So to us, the internet market, the online market is completely different in the sense that when you are looking at brick and mortar, we have, starting with, for example, the geography, you have a limited geography and you have a catchment and you can always react faster and you have better and deeper understanding of the catchment. When it comes to online, of course, the catchment is, it is actually sort of endless or limitless. It can happen, the buying can happen from anywhere, and the buying can actually scale up and scale down very, very rapidly. So the challenges in terms of supply chain and also become quite difficult. So we can spend more time discussing about the challenges, but the way I see it is currently from a people's perspective, it is not about the people alone, people per se. It's not about talent. It's also about the structure that you create to enable these people to have ownership.
Who ultimately owns it at the end of the day? Who starts the conversation that say, well, we are a brick and mortar, we are very successful. Should we actually go for a digital strategy? Should we not? Where is that conversation? Where does it start and how does it?
I think there is no choice. Now, if you see the youngsters today, they spend, like we grew up with newspapers, they grew up with the net. Yeah. Then don't probably touch the newspapers. So there is no choice. You have to get into online in some form or the other. So the question is, obviously, I think probably starts from the top or the board or whatever. Yeah. And then the question is, how do you then get it down to the system, which is the current system? When I talk about the system, I talk about organized in the structure. How do you get it down to inside the company? Yeah. How do you change, like she was using a very evocative word in the morning before when having a discussions. How do you put it in the DNA of the company? Yeah. And whether you do it with the same structure, whether you do it with a different structure, whether you do it with the same kind of talent, whether you do it with a different kind of talent, I think are the questions that we need to address.
Yeah, very good. Hansa, do you want to share with us the head honcho's experience, how you were a successful, and you are a very successful recruitment brand, ABC Consultants. What was the journey of a brand which is already very consolidated to say, let's get into a very different space and let's go digital?
So I think the most interesting thing, sorry, am I audible? Can you hear me? So I think one of the most interesting things about the head honcho's experience for us has been that it was never about launching an internet division. It was always about how can we leverage the internet for the ABC businesses. And I think that's the key challenge today for the retailer as well. Because launching an internet division, you know, something that, you know, like Salil said, that's a given. It's pretty much accepted that you can't ignore the online world. But the real challenge is not just creating an e-commerce division. The real challenge is creating a team that leverages the internet to grow the business exponentially. So much as Gagandeep spoke in the morning, it is about multiple channels and integrating the internet across all those channels. So that's really, I think, the big difference that I see, the big challenge. If you're a startup, no issue at all, you know, because you start out with a technology DNA. You launch the business much as Amazon did, not as a retailer, but as a technology company. When you are an existing retailer, you're almost saying, how do we become a retail home technology company or go the full stretch and actually evolve into a technology company? That is, I think, a huge challenge for organizations in the retail space.
So so the challenges you spoke about was one, you know, in terms of how do we actually integrate both? What has worked for you? Because in one sense you have a DNA that was brick and mortar, right? You had to bring people, you had to attract people first that had the skills to be able to move into a digital play. Then you had the short term and long term. ABC in itself was already a business that was making money. So how do you ensure that, you know, your first business will take time to make money? So how do you create that patience within the system?
So I think the best thing we really did was to relook at the whole business of technology. You know, we weren't really hiring people who were necessarily experts in technology. We were hiring people who had an internet vision. And creating that internet vision and an internet roadmap within the company was one of the best things we did. Who owned it? Clearly the guy at the top.
Yeah.
You know, so that this one is a vision issue.
Yeah. So Salin, tell me about the challenge of management bandwidth. Because I think if you look at, you know, people on the top, I mean, all of us who are managing business in the retail space, our hands are already quite full. So now you put on the desk of that guy on the top saying that, you know, you need to drive the digital arm when he or she might or might not be comfortable in terms of skills and in terms of capabilities in that space. How do you ensure that that business, which is a very growing and very nascent business that needs a lot of management support, how do you ensure we give management bandwidth? How do we give them courage? How do we give them the commitment from the top? And that has to be continuous.
So I think just to spend a little time on what she said also, the way we see it is that not only the internet retailing as a space is changing continuously, okay, but also the entire ecosystem. Now, if you see the internet as a different sort of universe, is changing continuously. For example, 5 years back, there was, let's say, not too much of impact of social media. Today there is social media. Tomorrow I don't know what is going to be there. Okay. So your end objective, of course, is a seamless integration of seamless movement of the customer from online to offline and offline to online. So here you have a world where the ecosystem is changing. the retailing itself is changing, and it's you know it's a lot of technology, a lot of challenge, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of suddenness, a lot of ambiguity. So when it comes to management bandwidth, I think if you are if you are a functional specialist, and you are in brick and mortar, and and you could be the other way also, it is virtually impossible for you to have that bandwidth of understanding or getting into the internet space. I have, from a little experience that I had with similar kind of space, we saw that we had, for example, in this sort of online business, one of the best guys probably in the country to run that business that time was there in this business, but and that business of course was small. So the moment he was pulled partly into the brick and mortar business, where the business was much larger, so he couldn't focus on both. So with the ultimate result that so neither this nor that could really succeed. So to me, at the functional level, definitely it has to be totally different. Different individuals. At a generalist level, which could be a business head or board or whatever, it is possible to have, if somebody has the right understanding of the space to focus on both the spaces. But at the same time, I think internet needs so much of, because it's a completely so fast morphing world, I think it needs also somebody for a, let's say, CEO, to have somebody else who is again a generalist for the internet space. So he's handling, let's say, technology, supply chain, or merchandising, customer for the internet separately.
Fabulous. Thank you. So I have a lot of questions for both of them, but I don't want to leave the questions for the end. So if there is any question from the audience, we can take a couple of 2 or 3 questions and then we can continue. Any question that's arising in your mind while we are discussing? Any of you want to ask any question right now? Either we're just giving too much. Can we have a mic here? We'll take 2 or 3 questions at the same time. We'll answer them together. Can we have a mic for the gentleman at the back? Yes. Any other question here? I've seen a hand up. Yeah. Let's take 2 or 3 questions at the same time, and if you're comfortable, we'll answer them. Yeah.
So I think that sounds interesting.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Just we can hear you. Very good question. What's your name, please? Kunal. Kunal. Okay. Any other question? We'll take them all together. Okay. So culture. Hansa, can you tell us how do we manage culture? Is it a different culture? Is it a unified culture?
So I think it is a unified culture. The issue today is that there is a group of people who are focused on an online business, and there is a group of people who are focused on an offline business. For the internet to really work in retail, I believe that both have to be looking across touch points. And that's the bottom line. So while you may be working today in a digital environment, the fact is every successful internet play in India has a strong offline component. Whether you talk services, whether you talk pure play retail, it has a huge offline component. The challenge for me is that companies have to stop thinking of themselves as either online or offline. The customer doesn't think that way, and nor can we afford to. So the customer is not just an online customer. That's the point, we heard this morning also. He is a multi-channel customer. You've got a great digital experience, but the person who actually delivers the product to the customer doesn't speak the same language. We have an issue for the customer. Look at COD. Cash on delivery is perhaps the most revolutionary change that has happened in terms of internet retail in India. You can't call it an online or an offline play. It's an integrated experience. So really the challenge is for companies to come out of their existing mindset and say that we are multi-channel, omni-channel. How can we integrate the structure of the organization, look for the right kind of talent, build processes that facilitate omni-channel delivery, look at also analytics for measuring our performance, which cut across channels. That's my take on it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Kunal, I think, if you, I think, if I get what you're asking is that if I see values as drivers of culture, obviously there'll be certain values which will be similar, which is like customer orientation, etc. But I think because of the nature of the medium currently, you need to have a much more open culture. You need to have a much more flexible culture. The people will be obviously younger, and so they tend to think differently. They are less hierarchical, and it has to be completely as much as possible attuned to innovation. Whereas typical brick and mortar thrives on processes and standardization of processes. So if this is the source of advantage of a brick and mortar is, let's say, processes, one of the key sources. The key source of advantage, competitive advantage for retail business, internet retail business would be innovation. So to that extent, the culture has to address those needs. So the structure and the culture, they all have to combine along with the kind of people that you have to address the innovation needs of the internet business.
Fabulous. Any other question from the audience? So either we are just really, really good, or we are not able to keep you guys awake. Yeah? Okay, great. Very good. Any other question? I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to go back to you. If you have any question, then we'll take that. So I think both of you have been talking a lot about people and where we're going to get people from. And I think Kunal will agree that the type of people we need is different. You were talking about innovation as a key differentiator for the internet retail. What type of people are we looking for when you're looking at moving from brick and mortar to digital? What are the type of people who are going to fit, and where do we find them?
So I think the answer to that is that we're still working out exactly what kind of people we need. The whole business of internet retail is relatively young, and obviously it's calling into play a number of different skill sets and different kinds of knowledge. So yes, you need to understand technology, you need to have a passion for the internet, you need to have understanding of the retail environment. Simultaneously, you need to look at things like product management, usability. The issue really, and I'm going back to something Salil said here, the issue really is that the people we're looking for have to have a huge capacity for change. This space is going to evolve so quickly and in so many different ways that the people who will succeed and thrive in it are people who can transform, who can manage change, who can be tremendous transformational leaders in a sense. And yes, they will need specialists at the next level to support that. So for example, they would hire the best talent with an understanding of retail. They would hire talent who has an understanding of the internet space. But fundamentally, it's people who have a capacity to manage change, to drive change, and who have a passion for the net. I think those are probably going to be the biggest two requirements for people in this space.
Salil, where do we find those people?
Hopefully there are lots of them here.
Yeah, I think the people who have, you could probably see from the sort of experience that he had, has he taken risks in his life? Does he look curious? Because, if somebody is a complete specialist in one field and he doesn't seem to be having any other broader perspective, you know that he's more likely than not likely to be a specialist, being curious. So I think you need curious people, people who accepted change and thrived with change and taken some risks in their lives. we see them, a lot of them, for example, abroad, are people who, let's say, somebody who becomes a biologist and then becomes a doctor, then becomes an explorer, and so we don't see so much of that in India. I think, with younger generation, probably it's going to happen. So you're going to see a lot more people with financial security coming into the society. You're going to see more and more people of this kind here.
I'd like to
Go ahead,
add to
please.
that, Esther, if I may. So, coming from a company which has very strong presence in the recruitment area, I'd like to say that often on the recruiter side of the table, people look at hiring resources who are an exact fit for the role. So there is almost a checklist of the ideal person that you want to hire for a digital or an internet retail venture, and an employer or a recruiter looks to find somebody who's a perfect fit. There is a reluctance, if I may say, to actually creating or building those people. In the case of internet retail, I don't think we will have an option of finding people who are a ready, good fit. We actually have to invest in growing that talent pool, and I think the entire recruitment world is now much more open-minded around what kind of people they are willing to hire for an internet retail venture. It's not easy to find that perfect fit, and we'll have to grow and build that talent.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you. Any questions from the audience? Can we? Yeah, please go ahead.
So, tying back to what you said about looking for people with capacity to change, right? I've just moved back to India and I see, from Seattle, and I see the difference in perspectives wherein, and so you had mentioned this, where people are so driven by the career drive that they're not able to take, I'm sorry if this sounds really harsh, but I feel like there are blinders on where there's a little bit of, a little bit of condescension associated with someone who has a diverse range of interests, a diverse range of experiences. So how do we leverage that and streamline it? Because someone who comes in with a wide range of interests is able to articulate in different ways. So how does that get streamlined with talent?
Can we have your name again?
My name is Neha.
Neha. Very good. So let me take all the questions in one go, Neha, and then we'll answer them. We had a question from the gentleman there. Do you have a question also? Anybody? Yeah, please go ahead.
My name is Aviral. Currently, we are looking at two kind of industries here. One is a company which is primarily a product-focused company, and then there is a service company. And e-retail is in the center, which is providing products and kind of services. Now, when we are talking about these manufacturing set of companies, they have a promoter group which is very centric towards products, and they have a huge distribution network. The problem of converting the promoter to sell those products and services is a dilemma. And then how to converge the set of, how to not disrupt their channel which is already existing and still take that platform to an online is what the question I'm asking. How to do that?
Very good. Thank you. Thanks. Any other question? Right, so I'm going to ask Hansa to take Neha's question about the readiness of the recruiter. You're saying that we're looking at that perfect CV when you're saying we need to look at alternative profiles, but are we ready to do that? And I'm going to get Salil, please, to answer the question about how do we move the promoter mindset, and we move them along with the times. Yeah? Please go ahead.
So Neha, you're absolutely right. People have almost predefined ideas in terms of what they are looking for, and then there is a mental checklist that they run to say, yes, check, 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 this person has all of these. Now, I don't see that changing easily. However, because there is no ready talent pool, recruiters, employers will have to look at the next level. That is, people who have not all, but some of the attributes that they're looking for. That's a slow process, but it is going to happen. So I'm sure Salil would have tried hiring people for his various ventures. And the fact is that you start with looking for a perfect fit, but when you don't find it, you're obviously far more flexible towards finding an appropriate individual. I think the question is also about being able to not see the business in silos. So for example, if you're looking for a marketing resource, it's more and more about finding the marketing resource who has retail industry experience and also understands the internet world. So I don't see a parallel structure for marketing coming up for the offline and the online business. I think marketing, in order to ensure a consistent brand experience, will always be a unified function. And therefore, you look for people who can bring something of the digital world, something of the internet world, as well as an understanding, if not of retail, then of customer mindset. Once you've got those in place, you're good to go with your marketing resource. Similarly, for say merchandising, you need a person who understands something of the internet world, something of merchandising, of the customer mindset, and you're good to go with that resource. At the senior level, at the very senior level, like I said, it is about managing change. I believe this space, and it's no longer a marketplace, it's a market space, is going to be very, very dynamic, very fast evolving. It will become a place of cutting edge technology in the years that lie ahead. Thank you.
So I think just to add to that, what you're saying is absolutely true, and this is more of a societal problem rather than a sort of a management organizational problem. So this is, of course, but I think because of the kind of people who would be there in the internet space, they would be sort of explorers. They would be they are kind of people who are trying some few things new, and their benchmarks are generally more global. So I assume and I presume that in internet you would have more openness to diversity and to ambiguity and things like that. Sorry. If I get your question right, you were saying how does a promoter who is handling challenges in a brick and mortar space move to online, right? I think the promoters today in India are fairly willing to take risks, and they are, as let's say, as exposed as anybody else. So you're talking about, let's say, promoters in a typical classical Indian sense of businessmen, etc. If you're talking about PN things, PN people like that, they're of course a different type. But if you're talking about Indian businessman kind of promoters, they are fairly exposed. A lot of them are second generation and third generation. So they are they are educated abroad, and they are many of them are looking at options outside the traditional businesses. So from an offline to online, of course they understand it. I know they do have a understanding as much as anybody else. So so once they see, like in an offline space, they see promises of returns. Once they see that opportunity and promise in the online space, they would of course tend to come in. So I don't see that as a promoter mindset of an Indian businessman in a sense too much of a challenge.
Do you want to add any? Yeah, go ahead.
Perhaps one challenge, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that what you're saying is while they want to go online, they don't want to disrupt the existing traditional businesses. Yeah. So I think there I agree with you that there is a challenge, because at one point, and this is based on what I know of our own business, you have to throw away the safety net. It's very difficult to grow a thriving online internet business while holding on completely to what has been successful in the past. And I think that promoters who embrace that change more willingly will be the ones who are really able to leverage on the power of the net.
Thank you. So I think time constraint, we have to close the session. Thank you very much, Hansaf. Thank you very much, Salil. Kunal, Neha, Avidal, thank you very much for your questions. We wish you a very wonderful learning day ahead, and we hope we can maybe do this session with more time the next time. Thank you very, very much. Let's give our panelists a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.